Ever think about those hidden stories? The ones history kind of tries to sweep under the rug, the really dark stuff you don't find in textbooks. Today, we're doing a deep dive into one of those, Operation MKUltra. It's arguably one of the, well, darkest and most disturbing government programs in modern U.S. history. Our mission here is to pull together what we know from the scattered sources that survived. We want to piece together how the CIA experimented with things like LSD, torture, even brainwashing for decades, all while the American public had basically no idea. So what really happened, and why does it still feel so relevant?
Yeah, to really get it, you have to picture the time, the Cold War. It wasn't just about missiles and spies. It was pitched as a war for the mind itself. Think about the 1950s. There was this huge paranoia, this real fear about Soviet brainwashing, this idea that the enemy could literally reprogram someone. Yeah. And that fear, that specific paranoia, it really pushed the CIA. They shifted focus from just gathering intel to this terrifying goal, finding ways to actually control the human brain. That's where MKUltra came in, top secret, obviously, with that really chilling objective.
Wow, a war for the mind. And the CIA just jumped into trying to control brains. How exactly did they try to do that? What kind of methods are we talking about? Because it sounds pretty extreme.
Oh, it was. The methods were, frankly, horrific. One of the main things was dosing thousands of people, thousands with powerful psychedelics, mostly LSD, and these people had no idea. They were completely unwitting subjects, often dosed repeatedly. But it wasn't just LSD. They explored sensory deprivation, hypnosis, electroshock therapy. They even tried mixing drugs to induce amnesia, just trying anything, really. Yeah. All in the name of national security.
Thousands, and unsuspecting. So these weren't volunteers signing waivers or anything like that?
No, not at all. These were prisoners, psychiatric patients, soldiers, yes, but also just ordinary citizens, people picked up in cities like New York, San Francisco, given drugs without their knowledge or consent.
Ordinary citizens just walking down the street.
Yeah.
That's hard to even imagine.
It really is. And there are specific tragic stories that highlight the human cost, like Dr. Frank Olson. He was a government scientist working on biological warfare. In 1953, his own colleagues secretly dosed him with LSD. Just about a week later, he fell from a hotel window in New York, died. The official story changed over time, but his family fought for decades. They still believe he was murdered, pushed to keep MKUltra secret.
That's horrifying. An American scientist killed potentially by his own government to cover up this program. So this level of secrecy, this darkness, it couldn't stay hidden forever, could it? What happened?
Well, eventually, no. By the 1970s, the pressure started building. You had investigative journalists digging. Congress started asking questions. The Church Committee was a big part of that. The CIA was eventually forced to say, okay, we're shutting it down, supposedly. But here's the really disturbing part. Before those investigations really got going, the CIA director at the time, Richard Helms, he ordered the destruction of almost all the MKUltra files.
Destroyed. So they deliberately wiped the records.
Exactly. Most of them. Gone. It was only by sheer luck, an administrative error, basically, that a small batch of financial records survived. They were misfiled and found years later. So everything we know really comes from this tiny fraction of surviving documents plus testimony. It means we still only have a glimpse, a fraction of the whole picture.
Just a fraction.
Yeah.
That leaves, well, a huge unknown, doesn't it? How much more happened that we'll just never know about?
Precisely. And that's why it's so important to remember this isn't some, wild conspiracy theory. This is documented history. Hard, uncomfortable fact. It's a stark reminder, really, of how easily ethical lines can be crossed, especially when fueled by fear and secrecy. And it forces us to think about today, doesn't it? We live in an age of AI surveillance, sophisticated data analysis, psychological operations online. You have to ask yourself, could something like MKUltra, maybe under a different name, be happening now? It really sparks your curiosity about what might be going on behind the scenes, right?
Yeah. It definitely does. It's not science fiction, is it? It's real history. History that someone tried very hard to bury. But it clearly still captures our imagination, makes us ask questions.
And that's the key takeaway, perhaps. History doesn't just repeat itself, it evolves. Think about what that evolution means. What hidden truths evolving from programs like this might still be shaping our world right now.